welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on Scraplift Crafternoon. This is a hop that I guess I now host on my channel with a bunch of Scraplift Crafternooners. These are my tribe, these are my friends, and we pick layouts from Instagram, we've done Pinterest, we've done, of course, YouTube. We try to find layouts that have at least an Instagram account, but we kind of prefer YouTube. That being said, this week we are scraplifting Stephanie Louise from Instagram. This is an amazing layout. I'm kind of excited to play with it. I did pull my August counterfeit kit. Again, this kit has Sweet Rush and Color Study from Vicky Boutin combined, and I have kind of a mess sitting here out on top of my workspace for me to talk about. Photo of myself and my baby sister. She actually was in town during this week. This was taken in August of 2016, or maybe September of 2016. She came to babysit her big sister because I had just had surgery and my husband had to go TDY on a mission out of state, and I wasn't allowed to drive yet. Technically wasn't supposed to be walking up and down the stairs yet, but my scrapbook room was upstairs. Sorry, Charlie. I walked upstairs. Anyway, so there's that photo of my little sister and I, and some of the papers that I'm going to be playing with. These are scraps from previous layouts. So I pulled this piece, the stripe, this, I call this a double wedding ring pattern because it looks like my double wedding ring quilt that my mom made me for my, it was supposed to be for a wedding gift, but it took her many years to complete it. Anyway, I currently have it, and so it reminds me of a double wedding ring quilt, and some other scraps and bits. Some flowers, some clouds, some butterflies, a set of alpha thickers from, I think this is from Sweet Rush, a stencil, some Mr. Huey's spray, and my molding paste. What I don't have out here yet is a piece of white cardstock, which I will pull here in just a minute. Oh yeah, and the pom-pom thread, because that also made a it's in the original layout as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this mixed media started. I will be right back. I'm gonna fast forward and we're gonna get started. Be right back. So in the original layout, she used what looked like texture paste and some color on the texture paste down kind of the center of her layout. It doesn't go and meet from top to bottom or even side to side. It's just kind of in that center spot going down. So I'm going to try to mimic that. I'm using a different shade of blue, and this is a Mr. Huey's from Studio Calico, and I'm going to warn you, it is a very saturated ink, and so instead of using the paintbrush like I thought I was going to be able to do, I'm just going to use this ink smooshing technique and get some of that blue onto that wet texture paste. And now I'm going to start cutting down my pattern paper just a little bit more. I had pre-cut a few pieces just to make it easier so that you didn't have to watch me cut everything down. And now I'm going to take these two pieces here and I'm going to try to cut them down. I'm only guessing on the measurements from the original layout. I'm just going to kind of make what I have work for me. I think that my layout turns out beautifully and I'm happy with it, so that's kind of what counts. It's not an exact replica of the original layout, and that is also okay when you're scraplifting. Sometimes you just kind of got to work with what you have and make it your own. I'm also going to go ahead and distress all of these pieces as I start to the gluing down process. And now I'm going to go ahead and start placing these pieces of patterned paper on my background. That background is now completely dry. I did let it dry for most of the day before I came back in the evening to work on it. I am going to glue all of this down on camera for you to kind of see what I'm doing, to get an idea of how I place things, but it's just a pretty simple process. I'm going to use this blue and white striped for my photo mat, and I'm kind of just deciding which side of that paper that I want to peek out from underneath my photo. Now I'm using the blue and white stripe because I have a lot of blue on the right hand side, and so I want to make sure I have some blue on that left hand side to kind of balance out the color that you're seeing. I'm also distressing the photo mat, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick it down and stick my photo down as well. Next, I'm going to start kind of eyeballing these strips. These strips are 1 by whatever the lengths of them are. I do have to trim them down before distressing them and tucking them underneath my photo mats. So they are just a guess. I know that they're 1 inch wide. I just don't remember how long each of them are. And because I had to cut them down from scraps, I was literally just kind of guessing. The original layout had 2 strips tucked on the top left side of the layout and 2 similar strips tucked on the bottom right side of the layout, and so I am doing that as well. I do think that her larger piece was different sizes on the right from the left. Mine are both the same size, about 4.5 inches wide. I chose to do it that way because I knew that my photo was a different orientation than what she used, and I knew that it was going to hang down below my paper on the left hand side. On the top part where the borders go, I cut a 1/2 inch strip off one of the sheets of paper for that, and it's a 1/2 inch by 12. So I'm going to go ahead and distress that 1/2 inch by 12 inch strip of patterned paper, and then I'm going to glue it down at the very top of the layout just like it is on the inspiration layout. Also at the top, she had a second border on the thinner border. Hers looked like she had taken a circle pattern paper and had cut it in half, and that made a great scalloped type border. I chose not to do that. I'm just going to be using color to form a visual triangle of blue on my layout. So I'm going to stick this blue and white stripe piece up here, and then you have that visual triangle. Now, typically when I create a counterfeit kit, if there are papers in the kit that can be fussy cut, I will spend some time and I will sit and fussy cut the flowers or butterflies or whatever it is that I am fussy cutting and have them set aside and ready to go. And that's what you're seeing here. I am now adding my little yellow flowers to this layout. And I'm going to add butterflies on my layout as well. I'm going to put 3 butterflies on the layout. So the original layout also had some beautiful splatters down in the middle of her texture paste mixed media, and so I'm mimicking that here as well. Again, I chose to use a darker shade of blue to match the pattern papers and my photo. My sister and I are both wearing shades of blue in this photo, and so I chose the blue to go with, you know, both my pattern papers and stuff. And you know me, I have to add something that's a little bit more my style, and so I added some white splatters to go in those little bits of colored spots around my photo as well. I kind of stayed away from where I put the blue splatters, but I did add quite a few of white splatters on the pattern paper and embellishments. The original layout also had some beautiful sequins on it, and so I took 2 of my 28 Lilac Lane mixes and I dumped some in this little triangle, and I'm going to add this glue in various places on my layout, and I'm going to put some of those sequins and or beads on top of this layout to give it a little bit of bling. You will note that I also added my journaling underneath my title over there on the right hand side. I know that she had her journaling on the left hand side underneath her photo. My stuff is pushed down a little bit lower on my layout, and again I used a different orientation photo, so I didn't feel like I had room to put the story of the photo underneath that photo, so I went ahead and I put it on the right hand side underneath my title. And of course my title is 1 line, hers was 2, and it took up more space, but I think that you still kind of can see that inspiration that I got there. I have a place for a title and a place for journaling, and it works really well, and I really feel like that my layout is very pleasing to the eyes. Alright, I have completed this scrap lift. I am really tickled with the way that this has come out. Of course, I followed the basic original design. I did change out butterflies for a few other things, and of course my colors are a little bit different, but overall I think that you can see where and how I took inspiration from the original layout. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are not a subscriber, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. It will always be free. Just click that button down there below. YouTube will notify you when I put out new content. I try to get new content out 3 to 4 times a week. There are months, though, that I do a daily hop, such as 30 days of sketches. And we have scrap timber coming up next month, and I'm going to give it a good go to do it every single day. No promises. My husband just returned home from deployment, and so I'm really kind of struggling with balancing my time between him and scrapbooking right now. So I'm going to do what's more important, of course. So if you have any questions about anything that I did in this video, just drop them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.